Hello guys, Olgi here, welcome back to another video today guys. Today's video is going to be something a little bit different to what I normally do as far as videos are concerned on my YouTube, but I thought it would be a cool little video for me to do, basically just kind of explaining the top 10 best perks. Obviously this is all my opinion, so do take this with a grain of salt, and obviously leave down below any comments whether you agree, whether you disagree, whether you'd change certain perks, or whether you'd add new perks, remove perks that I've already put in here. But in my opinion, this is the top 10 best perks in Dead by Daylight for Survivor, and I would definitely recommend picking these up if you haven't already got these. It generally is just a very good perks to use, so without further ado, let's get into number 10. So for number 10, I am putting Deliverance as the number 10 spot. The idea behind this perk is that if you perform a safe hook rescue on another survivor, you activate Deliverance, and basically when you try to unhook yourself, you will guarantee to be able to jump off the hook, and when you jump off the hook you will suffer from 60 seconds of the broken status effect, which basically means you cannot be healed for 60 seconds, which isn't too bad honestly. But the kind of good thing about Deliverance is once you get it active, it's a second chance that you can save yourself from the hook in case your teammates cannot, which is ideally great in case no one can make it to you or you're about to go to second state. But also it saves a lot of time for your team as well, which means you can pretty much get off the hook straight away, and your teammates have not they've not been interrupted from whatever they're doing, whether it's gens, whether it's being chased by the killer. You save a lot of time and it gives you a second attempt at survival pretty much. So in the number 9 spot, we've got We're Gonna Live Forever. When you are healing a survivor that's on the floor, on the dying, you will heal double the speed. It will be 100% increased healing speed to dying survivors. And also, when you perform a safe hook rescue, when you take a protection hit, when you stun the killer who is carrying a survivor or blinding a killer who's carrying a survivor, you will get a stack, up to 4 stacks. Each of these stacks grants a 25% bonus to all your blood points gained, up to 100%, which is absolutely amazing, and you will really see the change in blood points if you run this perk and you manage to get 4 stacks of it, because the bonus blood points are awarded post-trial rather than other perks in this where they aren't awarded post-trial. And so yeah, I'm placing We're Gonna Live Forever at the number 9 spot. In the number 8 spot, we have Spine Chill. Now, I don't necessarily use Spine Chill too much, but I can definitely see why it's a very, very strong perk to use for newer players, but also just for players that are a little bit scared early on in the game when they aren't too sure who the killer is, or any kind of situation where you're a little bit in an awkward situation. Spine Chill will light up whenever the killer is looking in your direction from 36 meters of you, basically meaning that when a killer is close to you and looking in your direction, you will see this perk light up, and it will give you that notification just to let you know that the killer is close and looking in your direction. This perk triggers odds of skill checks by 10%, and the success zones of skill checks are reduced by 10%. This means that when you are repairing, healing, sabotaging, unhooking, vaulting, cleansing, opening, and unlocking chests, any of these actions will be increased by 6% speed as well, which is tiny, but it does make all that little bit of difference with certain things, especially vaulting. You see Spine Chill used quite a lot in vaulting builds alongside other perks as well. But yeah, Spine Chill is a very nice perk that new players should definitely pick up and use in their builds, and I'm putting it in the number 8 spot. So for the number 7 spot, I'm putting Prove Thyself. Quite a surprising perk to some that I'm putting it in the number 7 spot. I feel like some people may have thought it was up there and then maybe number 10 or even below, you know, even further down than the top 10, but I'm putting it in the number 7 spot because I feel like it's quite an important perk to bring to the game, and it's normally nice if 1 or 2 people bring this. Honestly, Prove Thyself is a very nice perk. 15% repair speed bonus for each survivor within 4 meters, up to 45%. Basically, this means that you will repair generators quicker with survivors near you, basically meaning to double up on gens, maybe even have 3 survivors on a gen, or 4 as well, as it does mean that up to 3 other survivors will grant you that 45% maximum repair speed bonus. On top of this, Prove Thyself grants 100% bonus blood points for cooperative actions as well, which means that you will get a nice little bit of extra bonus blood points for cooperation, and it does mean you will fill up your objective very, very quickly. and that's why I'm putting it in number 7. In the number 6 spot, I'm placing Adrenaline. And it's very, very strong, especially for new players, but it does come at a cost, which is why it is very good, but also very weak as well. Adrenaline will basically be used when the exit gates are powered. When all the generators are done, you will instantly gain 1 health state and you will sprint at 150% of normal running speed for 5 seconds. So it's a bit like Sprint Burst, however, it's when all the exit gates are powered and the gens are done, and you will also gain 1 health state as well. So this can get you out of situations where you were slugged at the end or you were injured, and also if you're in a chase as well, very, very helpful Adrenaline is. So again, it can be quite nice at the end of the game to then have that extra health state up, even if, say, the killer does close hatch. For that reason, I'm putting Adrenaline in the number 6th spot. But Sprint Burst I'm putting in number 5. Sprint Burst, pretty simple perk. When you start to run, instead of a normal running speed, you break into a sprint at 150% of your normal running speed for 3 seconds, and you are then exhausted for 40 seconds to basically guarantee some distance and a little bit more time to the chase. And it is just a very, very nice perk to run. 4 is Decisive Strike. Decisive is a perk that is activated after being unhooked or unhooking yourself from the hook. It will activate for 60 seconds, and basically if the killer picks you up in that time of 60 seconds, you will basically have a small skill check to hit, and then you'll be able to basically get away from the killer's grasp, and you will stun them for 5 seconds. Basically this perk is then deactivated, and then you will not be able to be using this perk for the rest of the game, and you will also become the Obsession too. This perk will be deactivated, however, if after you are unhooked or you unhook yourself, you go and repair a generator, you heal yourself or other survivors, you cleanse a totem, you sabotage a hook, or you try and unhook other survivors. All of these will deactivate the perk, and you won't be able to use it when you get picked up by the killer. So basically, it's an anti-tunneling perk. Once you get off the hook, you have 60 seconds of safety, where if the killer comes back for you and picks you up in that time, you'll be able to basically escape the killer and be able to continue the game and avoid that second hook or third hook that you were going to go into if the killer were to be able to pick you up and hook you again. It's a very, very strong perk, and I would really recommend running it. So in the number 3 spot, I'm putting Unbreakable, which probably isn't a surprise to you guys, honestly. Unbreakable is a very, very strong perk. Most survivors run it, but for any of you that aren't running it or don't have this teachable, make sure to get it. Pick this perk up. It's very, very good. Basically, once per trial, you can completely recover from the dying state, which is when you're on the floor, when you're being slugged. You will basically recover 35% faster as well from your recovery on the floor. But basically, you can pick yourself back up. You can pick yourself back up once per trial with the dying state, which basically means if you use this alongside Decisive, you can either pick yourself up with Unbreakable or you can Decisive the killer. So these two perks together is why I put them in 3 and 4, because you can run these two perks together very, very strongly. You're guaranteed escape, whether it's by Decisive or by Unbreakable. So really and truthfully, run these two perks. Don't listen to the small PPs, because it's worth it as Survivor. Without further ado, number 2, Iron Will. Again, probably a very, very obvious perk by this point that it was going to be quite up here. Iron Will is an absolutely insanely strong perk, which basically allows grunts of pain to be completely silent. So when you're injured, 100% of your pain noises are just reduced. You will not hear a thing come from your character. This is very, very strong for when you're trying to be sneaky, when you're trying to do techs, when you're trying to maybe get a flashlight save for your teammate or a pallet stun. Because if you're injured and you're playing quite altruistic, you're probably going to be injured. It's just ideal. Like, the killer will just have no idea where you are if you run Iron Will, and it just makes for so many good plays, and the options are just like you can do so much with it for such an easy runnable perk that basically requires nothing from the player. To be able to just reduce your sounds like of pain by nothing and just have no noise come from your character, it's unbelievable. The only way the killer can then track you is literally from bloodstains on the floor or scratch marks. So without further ado, the number 1 spot is... Now, I think it was pretty obvious what it was, but yeah, it is Borrowed Time. Borrowed Time is undoubtedly the best perk in this game by far. It recently got a buff, which made it even stronger than what it already was, and it's just insanely good. You really, really want to be running this perk for your sake and your teammates' sake. basically, when you unhook someone, when you unhook a survivor from the hook, they are protected for 12 seconds of endurance, which basically means that if they take any damage in that 12 seconds, they will get a deep wound status effect rather than being put into the dying state, which basically means they'll have 20 seconds to mend themselves and they won't go down. They'll still be able to walk. They'll still be able to run. Now, this perk is insanely good end game because the amount of saves, the amount of things you can do with this perk, it just makes the killer's life hell. Basically, taking any damage while in the effect of the deep wound, or if the timer does run out, it will put you into the dying state. However, the deep wound really isn't too much to worry about. Obviously, you can mend. It takes 20 seconds, which is not bad. And honestly, as long as you're sprinting, you will basically be able to avoid mending anyway. And yeah, it's an insanely strong perk, and most of the time you'll hear this perk used or played with, and it is just so good. It's pretty obvious why it's number 1, honestly. And yeah, you've really got to run this. In a Swift, you really want to see at least 2 to 3 people run borrowed, because you are looking out for your teammates, and also you're avoiding any D-ranking or missed blood points you'd get, because a safe unhook is always nice. So it's just insanely good. But yeah, guys, that is it from me. That's my top 10 list on the best survivor perks. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you'd like to see next. Let me know if you like this kind of video and you'd like to see more like this, and make sure you go and watch the killer perk list as well. But other than that, that's it from me, guys, and I will catch you in the next video. Take it easy. Ta-ta.